Hey guys, so today we are going to talk about context and how being uncomfortable is something that you may avoid, or most likely it's something you're going to have to kind of come to terms with. So let's get into it. Now, what in the world am I saying? Context and being okay with being uncomfortable and all this nonsense like this. What type of title is that? Well, let's just go through it together, okay? So to give you a little bit of context, today I was asked by my boss to have a look at a small little side project. Well, not really a side project. It's a small project, but it is very critical to our business. And he asked me to do it. Now, I haven't really asked him as to why he did this, but I have a suspicion that he did it to be nice. Because, you see, the project is a completely server-side implementation, dealing with an application that is critical in many ways to our business. And you see, it's all in Scala, and it's all done using a series of frameworks that I've never used before in my life, apart from, of course, working on the project that's already been established, and it's the code base that I've been working with for quite some time now. But I've never set any of this up myself. And you see, something that you will notice, and this is something that I remember hating so much about my education back in the days when I was studying Java. And you see, because you see, all the projects that we were provided by our teacher was already set up for us. Everything was already there. And I remember asking my teacher, could we, have a project where we start from absolute scratch? Because if you already have a finished project, if you come to a project and you start working, odds are that there's always going to be a lot of stuff there already. But if you don't learn how to start from absolutely scratch, you're a little bit limited in what you can do. We didn't really see eye to eye on this, me and my teacher, because he made the argument that usually you will almost always start at a company where the code is already established. I agree that that's the most common case, and for the juniors out there, this is definitely the case. Most of the time you're going to be presented a code base and a certain way of working where everything is already prepared for you, and you just kind of dive in and start trying to figure out how to do things the way that it's already being done in the code. But not this time. So my gracious, I'm very happy that he asked me to have a look at this project, because that means that he realized something. He realizes that this is the perfect learning opportunity for me. Now, why am I being so excited about this? Why? Because I said yes immediately when he asked me to do this. And here I am working on this thing that, if you really come down to it, there are plenty of senior Scala developers at my company who could have done this much quicker, most likely. So why am I excited about this? And why would my boss basically ask me to do it? Well, because I am a junior Scala developer. That's why. Now, some of you may, if you've been following along in my little video series or vlog, I don't really know what to call it, but whatever this thing we're doing here, whatever that is, you might kind of go and wonder, Fredrik, is he a junior? Or maybe you kind of go, well, yeah, of course Fredrik is a junior. But you see, for those of you out there who have made the mental mistake that a lot of people make, to believe that just because somebody knows one thing, they know something else as well, this is a perfect example of when this is completely false. You see, although I know my way around a lot of different programming tools and different frameworks and Some of my languages I'm good at and some I'm not so good at. This is one of those situations where I'm not especially good at what I do. I absolutely suck at it in comparison to, well, skills I have in other areas or skills I have in other programming languages. So here I am back. I can describe the feeling like this. It feels like being back in my university days, trying my best to get my head around how to set up a Java enterprise application from scratch. No Spring framework, nothing like that. It's from scratch with servlets and all that good stuff for the first time. That's exactly how I feel, with one difference. I know enough to know where I'm going with my software. I know what to do and the structure I'm looking for. The problem is that I don't know the framework. I don't know how the dependency system works. There are all these questions that I can't answer right now, that I have to go and look up in the documentation. And what's even better about this situation is that my boss has a tight deadline, or rather the project has a tight deadline, which means that if I don't deliver quickly enough and well enough, I'm going to disappoint my boss. And what's even worse is that I might face a situation where somebody else is going to have to come in and help me. And that's going to affect my standing with my boss in a negative way. Well, I might be exaggerating that bit a little bit. But there's stakes for me. So what do we have here? Okay, so we have someone who is now who is basically, I'm working in a situation where I don't know exactly how to do everything, so I have to kind of figure everything out, and there's pressure and stakes. Well, that's basically how it feels to be a junior. That's exactly how it feels to be a junior. You have a deadline, you're trying to build something that needs to fulfill a certain requirement and have a certain level of quality. You feel all this anxiety because you have something to prove now, because you're going to be reviewed. Some juniors are fortunate. You may not have to show your work to somebody who is a senior in the thing that you like, because let's remember, my boss is a senior Scala developer. So he's going to check my code. So you can imagine how that feels, being uncertain about how to do things well, presenting some code, and then having someone who is a master review that code. Even more pressure. So this is literally how it is to be a junior. And I'm back at being a junior. Now, why in the world would I do this? How in the world could I expose myself to this level of being uncomfortable again? I've already gone through all of this. Because I have already been through that. I know that if I just stay in my comfort zone, I'm never gonna have to feel this way again. And I'm going to be able to make more money. I'm going to most likely be able to produce better than in my field of expertise. I'm going to be able to produce the same sort of software and quality and speed and all of that good stuff as my senior colleagues. So why in the world would I put myself in a situation where I have to be a junior again? Because it grows me as a person. It grows me as a developer. This sensation of being uncomfortable is unpleasant, but it's very, very useful. You see, I'm learning things as I go along. I am widening my horizons. I'm learning all kinds of new things. This discomfort that I'm feeling, I've already been through it. I know what it feels like. And I feel this all over again. It's not as horrible as it was the first time, but it's still not pleasant. But I'm willing to trade all this discomfort for the learnings that I will gain from doing this. And if I start working at another company, odds are that I'm going to find a place of work where I'm not necessarily the junior, but where there's something new to learn. Because the process of learning something new is always going to be scary. But that's the way I like it. I really do. I like it this way because it makes me, well, for a lack of a better term, it makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I'm progressing. It makes me, that discomfort and sensation that there's stakes and I have something to prove, it means that I care about what I do. Because if I ever got to a point where I was so good at something that it felt boring and unfulfilling to do it, then I would be in a situation where the most horrible thing I know would start to settle in, and that's boredom. Guys, there's nothing I hate more than being bored. I would rather sit and have severe anxiety and stress than being bored. And learning something new and progressing by simply learning things over and over and becoming the junior, it's a very nice way to not be bored. So, what am I saying about all of this? Well, I'm saying to you out there that if you are a senior and you never get to be the junior, I think that you should try it out again. I think it's healthy for you to try out something new, to put yourself in that discomfort and learn something new. And if you are a junior, I would like you to know that it's always worse the first time, guys. Because this is my second time as a junior. And even after several years of working in this field, I can still be a junior. All I have to do, if I ever get to be a master of Scala, all I have to do to be the junior again is to switch jobs. So remember that. Sometimes you're going to be the expert on something, and sometimes you're going to be a junior, even when you have several years of experience. And that's why I keep telling, that's why I want you to take, what I wanted you to take away from this is that you have to get okay with feeling discomfort, unless you simply want to stay in your comfort zone forever. There's nothing wrong with staying in your comfort zone, but it's not going to grow you as a person as much. Have a great day.